Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What does it mean? Have you ever asked yourself, why does it feel like the loudest voices are often the most dishonest, and why do those who play by the rules seem to finish last? If you've ever felt like the universe has turned a blind eye to your integrity while rewarding the shadows, this message is the turning point you've been waiting for. The words echoed across a mountainside 2,000 years ago, carried by a voice that understood the rhythm of the universe. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It is a promise that has survived empires and outlasted tyrants, but we often misunderstand its location. We look to the clouds, waiting for a distant reward in a life we cannot see, while the Master was pointing to a reality that begins the very moment truth breaks through the darkness. The kingdom of heaven is not merely a destination after the final breath. It is the state of the world when the scales are finally balanced right here on the soil where we bleed and hope. To suffer injustice is to carry a heavy, invisible chain. It is the sleepless night spent wondering why the wicked prosper, while the kind-hearted stumble. It is the silent scream of the worker whose labor is stolen, the tears of the innocent wrongly accused, and the exhaustion of those who speak the truth in a room full of people who prefer a comfortable deception. Injustice creates a specific kind of agony, a spiritual friction that wears down the soul. It makes you feel small, forgotten, and discarded by the very universe that created you. This suffering is not a random occurrence. It is the battlefield where the soul is forged. When we are treated unfairly, our first instinct is to look outward and cry for a rescue that seems never to arrive. We see the arrogant walking with their heads held high, seemingly untouchable by the consequences of their actions. We see the manipulative winning the favor of the masses, while the sincere are cast aside as naive or weak. This visual discrepancy, the gap between what is right and what we see, is where the greatest spiritual pain is born. It is the feeling that the world is broken and that no one is coming to fix it. But let us dive deeper into the promise of the kingdom. If the kingdom of heaven is within you, then its manifestation on earth is simply the alignment of our external world with that internal truth. To be blessed does not mean you are happy in the moment of your pain. It means you are in a state of grace because you have refused to abandon the light. Every time you are persecuted for doing the right thing, you are actually being given a rare opportunity to prove that your values are not for sale. You are demonstrating that your integrity is not a trade you make for comfort, but a fundamental part of who you are. Think of the moments when you stood alone in your truth, watching as others climbed the ladder of success, using the rungs of betrayal and greed. You felt the cold draft of abandonment, as if the moral arc of the universe had bent toward chaos rather than justice. This exhaustion is not just physical, it is a fatigue of the spirit. It is the weight of holding on to a light that no one else seems to see. When you are persecuted for doing what is right, the world tries to convince you that your goodness is a weakness, that your honesty is a liability, and that your kindness is a door for others to walk over. However, the world's perspective is limited by time and space. The universe operates on a much larger scale. There is a law older than any human court, a law as steady as gravity and as inevitable as the sunrise, the law of cause and effect. This is not about the petty human desire for vengeance. Vengeance is a fire that consumes the one who holds it. No, this is about the great correction. Just as a seed planted in the earth must eventually break the surface as a flower or a thorn, every action carries within it the blueprint of its own consequence. Those who sow seeds of pain, deceit, and oppression are not getting away with anything. They are simply waiting for the harvest of their own making. Imagine the energy required to maintain a lie. Those who live by injustice must constantly look over their shoulders. They must build higher walls, tell more lies to cover the old ones, and live in a state of perpetual fear that the truth will one day find them. Their success is a hollow shell, a prison of their own design. On the other hand, the one who suffers for the truth carries a burden that is heavy, yes, but it is a burden that leads to freedom. Once the truth is out, there is nothing more for the world to take from you. You are free. Consider the silence of the universe not as indifference but as patience. The gears of divine justice move slowly because they are grinding exceeding fine. Every moment that an injustice goes unpunished is simply more time for the ripples of that action to gather strength before they return to their source. In the grand tapestry of existence, no thread is lost. If you have been harmed, the debt is recorded. If you have been lied to, the truth is preserved. If you have been broken, the fragments are counted. There is a profound beauty in the resilience of the human spirit. We see it in the parent who works 3 jobs to provide for a child, only to be cheated by an employer. We see it in the whistleblower who loses their career to save lives. We see it in the ordinary person who chooses kindness in a world that is increasingly cruel. These people are the true citizens of the kingdom. They are the ones who understand that the real reward is not found in a bank account or a title, but in the quiet satisfaction of a clean conscience. The kingdom of heaven that Christ spoke of is a state of equilibrium. It is the moment when the internal peace of the righteous meets the external reality of the world. When we say theirs is the kingdom, we are speaking of an inheritance of peace that the world can neither give nor take away. It is the profound realization that despite the storms of malice, your soul remains uncorrupted. This is the first victory, the refusal to become the evil that was done to you. We must remain alive in our faith, not as a passive waiting, but as a vibrant, burning certainty. Faith is the lighthouse that keeps us from crashing against the rocks of bitterness. When we lose hope, the injustice wins twice, first by hurting us, and second by turning us into a reflection of the very thing that caused us pain. To stay blessed in the midst of persecution is to refuse to let the world turn your heart into stone. It is to know that your suffering is seen, your integrity is recorded in the fabric of existence, and your reward is being prepared even as the trial continues. Let us explore the concept of consolation. To be consoled is not just to be patted on the back and told everything will be okay. True consolation is the restoration of what was lost. It is the healing of the wounds that injustice left behind. This consolation happens on earth every time a truth is revealed, every time a victim finds their voice, and every time a system of oppression crumbles under its own weight. It happens in the small victories of daily life, where goodness prevails against the odds. Think of the martyrs of history, the voices of change that were silenced by the powers of their day. They died with a peace that their executioners could never understand. Why? Because they already inhabited the kingdom. They knew that the truth they spoke was immortal, while the lies that condemned them were tied to the decaying flesh of their persecutors. You are part of that lineage. Every time you choose the difficult right over the easy wrong, you are building the walls of that heavenly city here on earth. Every act of injustice creates a debt in the cosmic ledger. This debt must be paid. It is not a matter of if, but when. The person who causes suffering today may feel powerful, but they are actually impoverishing their future self. They are walking into a storm of their own creation, and you, who endure with patience and faith, are building a reservoir of strength and merit that will sustain you when the seasons change. Imagine the day when the light finally hits the hidden corners. Picture the moment when the mask falls from the face of the deceiver and the truth stands naked for all to see. In that instant, the kingdom arrives. It arrives in the peace that floods your chest, in the restoration of your name, and in the profound realization that the universe is in fact orderly and just. Those who caused the suffering will find themselves facing the mirror of their own deeds, not because of a vengeful God, but because they have finally reached the end of the path they chose to walk. This is the law of the harvest. You cannot plant thorns and expect to gather grapes. You cannot plant hatred and expect to harvest love. The unjust are trapped in a cycle of their own making, while the righteous are being prepared for a glory that they cannot yet fully comprehend. The suffering caused by injustice is a refining fire. It strips away the superficial and leaves behind only what is true. If you are in that fire right now, know that it is not there to consume you, but to purify the gold of your character. The tears you cry today are the water for the garden of your future consolation. There is a deep cosmic irony in the fact that the very people who try to destroy you are often the ones who provide the pressure necessary for your greatest growth. Without the opposition, you would not know the depth of your own strength. Without the darkness, you would not appreciate the brilliance of your own light. We live in a world that often rewards the shadow, but the shadow cannot exist without the light. The very fact that you feel the sting of injustice is proof that you belong to the light. If you were part of the darkness would not bother you. Your pain is the evidence of your citizenship in a higher realm of ethics and spirit. This pain is a calling to keep moving forward, to keep believing that a better world is possible, and to be the catalyst for that change. Hold on to your light. The darkness is dense, but it is also temporary. Every tear you shed in the name of what is right is a diamond being polished for your crown. You are not a victim of a chaotic world. You are a pioneer of a new one where justice is the very air we breathe. The consolation promised to you is coming, moving toward you with the speed of truth itself. The light of justice is not a flickering candle, it is a rising sun. Even if you are in the deepest part of the night, remember that the dawn does not ask for permission to break. It simply arrives, exposing what was hidden and warming what was cold. Your perseverance is your strength, and your faith is the bridge to that kingdom where every wrong is made right. Let us speak of the mechanics of this return. When someone acts with malice, they create a vibration in the field of human consciousness. That vibration must eventually find its resolution. It is a mathematical certainty. You do not need to lift a finger for justice to be served. You only need to keep your hands clean and your heart open. The weight of their own actions will eventually become too heavy for the unjust to carry. The walls they built to keep others out will become the walls of their own prison. Every time you forgive, you break a link in the chain of suffering. Every time you refuse to retaliate, you stop the poison from spreading. This is the true meaning of turning the other cheek. It is not a sign of weakness, it is the ultimate display of power. It is saying to the world, you cannot change who I am, you cannot make me like you. This is how we bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, one choice at a time, one day at a time. Meanwhile, your path is one of expansion. By enduring with grace, you grow larger than your problems. You become a vessel for a peace that surpasses understanding. This is the kingdom being acquired here on earth, when your internal state is no longer dictated by the external chaos. When you can look at your persecutor not with hatred, but with a tragic understanding of the debt they are accruing, you have already entered the kingdom of heaven. You are being rewarded even now in ways you might not see. You are being rewarded with a depth of soul that the unjust can never know. You are being rewarded with the ability to see the world as it truly is and to love it anyway. You are being rewarded with the companionship of all those throughout history who have walked this same path and found their way to the light. Stay strong, stay hopeful. The story of your life is not being written by those who wish you harm. It is being written by the architect of the universe, and the final chapter is always one of triumph for the righteous. The injustices you face today are but a brief shadow in the eternal light of your destiny. Remember that your life is a message to others who are struggling. When they see you standing firm, when they see you maintaining your kindness despite the pressure, you become their lighthouse. You become the proof that the kingdom is real. As you walk through the valleys of this world, keep your eyes on the horizon. The justice you seek is already on its way. It is woven into the very fabric of life. It is in the heart that keeps beating, the sun that keeps rising, and the truth that refuses to stay buried. You are blessed because you are on the side of life, and life always wins in the end. May your heart find rest in the knowledge that you are never truly alone in your struggle. The universe remembers every act of kindness and every moment of silent integrity. Sleep tonight with the peace of one who knows that the harvest is coming, and it will be more beautiful than you ever imagined. The kingdom is yours, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. If you love this story and want to hear more like it, please hit that subscribe button. It truly means the world to us and helps us grow. And hey, while you're at it, let's aim for 50 likes on this video. Help us smash that goal.